Welcome to the IAS Academy and our ultimate training program for MS 100, Microsoft 365 Identity and Services Certification. In this section, we are going to learn about multi-factor authentication, MFA. A password alone is not a secure method to protect your resources. Hackers follow a lot of ways to get your password, and one of the method is sending a link to users, and that takes them to a similar page like Microsoft login page. So when you type the password, it immediately gonna send to the hacker. But having a second factor of authentication stop hackers accessing your resources with just the password that they got it from you. So we have two videos in this section. One gives you an understanding about what is multi-factor authentication, and in the second video we will see how to configure multi-factor authentication. So that is all. Let's move to the next video. In this video we're going to talk about multi-factor authentication. Topics that comes in this video includes what is a multi-factor authentication and what are the factors of authentication, and the multi-factor authentication supported by Microsoft 365. We know passwords are the most common method of authenticating a user to a computer or an online service. But it is also known as most vulnerable method because people can choose easy password and use the same password for multiple sign-ins to different computers and service. So this tendency of people to use same password across all the accounts and subscription, and that makes even the complex policies that set up by your organization inefficient to secure your digital assets. So password is not just enough. We need additional security levels, and to provide an additional security level for sign-in, you must use multi-factor authentication. In a multi-factor authentication, it uses both the password and a strong additional verification mechanism. Many people thought when we say about multi-factor authentication, it is all about receiving an OTP to a registered mobile number. I hope the next two slides about factors of authentication will bring more clarity on this. The first step of access control is identifying the user, and that occurs when you enter your username. And then authentication follows by entering user password or any other factor of authentication. So for example, a user get authenticated when they provide their username and password correctly. Then the permissions, rights and privileges are granted to the user based upon their proven identity. So there are three common factors used for authentication. The first one is something you know. It is all about a password or a PIN number that you enter from your memory. To make it strong, it is highly recommended to use a mixture of uppercase and lowercase numbers and special characters. Then the second factor of authentication is something you have, such as a smart card. A smart card is something like a credit card sized card that has an embedded certificate used to identify the holder. So the user can insert this card into their device, and this can be authenticated to identify the individual. In bank ATM, we use multi-factor authentication with a smart card and a PIN number. So when you insert your smart card, which means you are identified with something you have, then you enter a PIN number, which means you are identified by something you know. So then there is a multi-factor authentication because in addition to the PIN number or the password, you have a second factor, that is a smart card, to authenticate. Then the third factor, something you are, such as a fingerprint or a biometric that can be used to identify an individual, and retinal and iris scans, handwriting, voice analysis, handprints are also commonly used method. But fingerprint are mostly used even in the laptops to identify. Some USB fingerprint readers are also available. So these are the three factors of authentication. So something you know, which can be a password, something you have, that can be a smart card, and something you are, that is a biometric method or a fingerprint, for example. Now come to the final part of this video, that is multi-factor authentication supported in M365. A text message sent to a phone to verify a user is the first option. Then you can get verified with a phone call also. And also you can use a Microsoft Authenticator application in smartphones so that you will be requested to enter the 6-digit number from Microsoft Authenticator app, and by entering this number you get verified and you get access to the digital assets of your organization. So that is all about introduction to multi-factor authentication. In this video, we learned what is multi-factor authentication, what are the factors of authentication, and what are the supported type MFA in M365. In the next video, we're gonna see how to set up multi-factor authentication in M365. In this video, we're gonna see how to set up multi-factor authentication for M365, that's Microsoft 365 users. So let's begin our demo. To configure multi-factor authentication, log into Microsoft 365 Admin Center. From there, go to Users and Active Users. You can see there is a top option multi-factor authentication, or you can go to individual user. Then you can find multi-factor authentication option, manage multi-factor authentication. Click on that will take you to another web page for configuring multi-factor authentication. Now here you can select individual user, or you can go for a bulk update. Then you have an option to enable multi-factor authentication. Now we have updated multi-factor authentication configuration from admin side for the user. Now the next step is from the user side. Now the user which we just enabled the multi-factor authentication is trying to log into his account, and you can see once he is signed in with his username and password, he's gonna ask to enter for more information. So the user gonna go through a self-service setup so that he can simply click on the next and enter his multi-factor authentication informations, and by this way he can simply configure it, and administrator doesn't have much effort to configure for users multi-factor authentication. Now you have two options here, authenticate by app and authenticate by phone. So authenticate by phone means you get an OTP, one-time password, to your mobile as an SMS, or you can even select a phone call option as it is a trial version, and based upon the country also the telephoning option may be not available. So here I'm just entering my mobile number, then I'm going to configure authentication by phone method. So by this method I will receive an SMS and I have to verify my mobile number here. Once I enter the verification code, you can see that it get verified, and you can see that there is an application password displayed here. So this can be utilized to configure applications like Outlook, Apple email, where you want to configure your email other than browser. So your normal password is not going to work once you configure multi-factor authentication. So this application password can be utilized to configure those mail applications. Let us go back to the multi-factor authentication configuration page and configure the other options that are available. So the other option here is text code to my authenticator application. So it's a application available to download from Play Store or from App Store, where you can download and configure your second factor authentication, and there you can find a 6-digit code, and while logging into your account you have to enter this 6-digit code, and the life of that 6-digit code is 30 seconds. So select authenticator app or token option. As we don't have a authenticator app configured in our mobile, you can simply click on the setup authenticator app button, and that will take you to the configuration of authenticator app. Now you can see a QR code displayed. So once you install Microsoft Authenticator app in your Windows or Android or iOS phone, then you have to add your account and scan the image displayed here, and that will display a 6-digit code. It will be refreshed every 30 seconds. Now click next to get this application verified. Now you get a notification in your Authenticator app. You have to respond to that notification, and that will verify the Authenticator application. Now the verification has completed. Let me show you the other option. You can see that notify me through app and text code to my authentication phone. These two are the options we have with Authenticator application. Notify means it's just pop up a notification. You need to approve the sign in request. And the verification code from app means it display a 6-digit code that you have to enter while signing into the application. Let us try notify me through app. As we change our verification method, we have to verify the changes, and for this from the Authenticator app you need to approve it. Then now the update has successful. So I'm gonna sign into myapps.microsoft.com, and once I enter my password, the next step is to approve this sign in request. Now a pop-up displayed in my Authenticator app. I have to approve, and that take me to my account. Now click on the user icon, then go to profile. From there you will find additional security verification, where you can change your verification method anytime. Now let us try use verification code from application. Click on the save button. As we changed the verification method, now we have to verify the changes. You have to enter the 6-digit code that displayed in your app. Now the update has successful. Let us sign out and sign in to see the changes. Now entering back to my user account, and now you can see that it is asking me to enter the 6-digit code that displayed in my Authenticator app, and that take me to my account. So that is all about multi-factor authentication setup. We saw different method verification options available with Authenticator app, and also text message to your mobile number. So this is how you can configure multi-factor authentication, one of the strongest recommended authentication method to secure your account. In this video, we are going to summarize what we have learned in this section. Secure identity access is one of the most important part in a software as a service, and which is much easier with Microsoft 365. Multi-factor authentication is not just about an OTP as an SMS to your mobile. This is the most important information you need. It can be an access card, or it can be an authenticator app, or OTP as an SMS, or biometric. And we found there are different type of authentication that you can use, and Microsoft 365 provides two options other than password, that is one-time password to the registered mobile, or use an authenticator app. So users can do all the necessary steps to set up their multi-factor authentication if the MFA is enabled from the admin side. Users have a self-service sign-in portal where they can go and configure their mobile number, their authenticator app, and they can continue to use multi-factor authentication. From the administrator side, administrator can enable MFA for users. Then while signing to the Office 365, users will prompt to complete the configurations required for multi-factor authentication. So that is all. Let us wrap up this small section but the most important section and move to the next one.